Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Jonah from Spotlight, and today we are going to be talking to Jourdan. Jourdan, how are you doing today?
I am doing friggin' fantastic. I'm doing good. Good to be here. Good to see you. Excited.
Yeah, thank you for joining us this morning. I think we've done one event together already, and it was a total blast. I always like to call out, don't do it right now, of course, because you want to be here at this event. But after this event, if you want more from Jourdan, head over to the Spotlight channel and search her name. We did another event that was an absolute blast. And please pop in the comments if you're here. Let us know where you're tuning in from, something you're excited to learn, maybe where you learned about Jourdan or Spotlight. We love hearing all of that. And throughout the presentation, feel free to pop any questions you have into the comments, whether you're watching live or in the replay. We do come back and look at those comments. And if we don't answer them right away, don't worry, we are not ignoring you. We've set aside a time at the end to do a proper Q&A where we can get to all those questions. And if Jourdan is moving fast, I know she's got a lot to teach us today, or if you have to get up away from the computer, life happens around you, don't fret. All of this will be available in a replay. It'll be on the YouTube channel. It'll be on the Spotlight event page and emailed to you along with the course replay or the course offer, which we'll talk about a little later. And just to make sure everyone's in the right place, like I said, we are talking to Jourdan and we're going to be talking about Instagram Reels. Grow
Yeah.
your audience and sell your services. We're going to learn how to maximize Instagram Reels for your business to grow your audience and sell your services with ease. Jourdan, I want to get the heck out of the way. So I'm going to let you take over and let's dive in.
Awesome. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone. I already see, Jonah, you already know how much I love the chat. So just before I start, I want to let you guys know that I'm a very interactive chatter talker. I already see Cindy, Becca, Heron, Nyla, and Ebony in there. Please be active. It makes my heart smile. So you already know how I feel about that.
Love it. Yes.
Yeah, so let's dive in to Instagram Reels for your business. So drop a one in the chat before we get started. If you are using Instagram Reels in your business, drop a one in the chat. I want to know where my people are. And even if you're not using them yet, drop a one if you plan to use them in your business. And then let's dive in. Hey guys, all right, I see the chat moving. Okay, so let's move on to who I am. My name is Jourdan Guyton. I am a content coach, strategist, teaching entrepreneurs how to create profitable content on social media. I work primarily with female entrepreneurs who are coaches, consultants, and service providers. And I started my business in July of 2020, so in the height of the pandemic. So a little bit about me. I started behind the camera. If you look in that top middle picture right there, that was my boss for a good 3 years. Anybody familiar with Maury Povich? Drop a yes in the chat. That was my boss for a good 3 years. You are not the father. I was doing it all. So I started in production. It was something that I enjoyed, that I loved. And then I started doing some content in front of the camera. So I created content. I created a web series with a friend that we ended up selling to a major network, in addition to commercials, print, all the things. But when pandemic hit, production fully shut down. So obviously all of us had to take several seats in order to adjust to the big life change. And so that's when I decided to start my business. The Clemens said, oh my gosh, I loved Maury. Okay, good. So y'all know who he is. So I started from scratch. I started from nothing. And now I am teaching other entrepreneurs how to create content for their business. So here's the stats. When I started creating content for my business in March of 2020, I just hit 10K in March. But when I started my business, I was at about 5,000 followers. And through creating Reels today, you can see that growth of over 50,000 organically. I have not paid for an ad. I have not ran ads yet, maybe one day, but all of this is organic traffic. And a big indicator of this was from Reels. So I'm going to spill the tea. Drop a 1 in the chat if you want me to spill the tea on how I did it, if you guys are ready for some strategy. I know people were saying 1-ish in the chat, using reels sporadically. Someone said kind of. So definitely drop a 1 if you really want to know how we're doing it, okay? So these are some more numbers from my insights. So there was a time where I had a reel that did really well, and we reached over 2 million accounts. And if you look to the right, you can see the breakdown based on content type, right? And it says out of the 2.438384 accounts reached, 2.4 million of those accounts were due to reels. So I said, I might need to double down on these reels things. So the commitment throughout the duration of this workshop, I ask that you commit to show up for yourself, soak up all the value in the upcoming slides, take notes, and be open to receive information to help you grow. So let's level up together and make some magic. Put I commit in the chat if you guys commit to this journey that we're about to go on. I want you to make a commitment to yourself, to your content, and then just a commitment amongst friends. I think we're all friends here, right, Jonah? In this space, in this Teachable Discover space, I think that making that commitment before diving into learning really sets the tone before moving forward. So let's go. My workshop goal is, if you are an entrepreneur, you will learn how to maximize Instagram Reels for your business, right? To grow your audience and sell your services with ease. Okay, so Instagram Reels are an incredible way for entrepreneurs to grow their audience, showcase their services, and sell. Bhavana says she's committed, or Bhavana Digital Academy says committed. The Clemens commits, Ebony commits, and Jonah refreshes and reminds me that we are all friends for sure. So let's go back to the beginning of Instagram Reels, right? So let's talk a little history. Instagram announced Reels in August of 2020. So a year and a half ago. This is still a new feature to this platform. So what we do know in the research that we've kind of pulled up is through Instagram and through good old Google is what we know about the Reels Instagram, or what we know about the algorithm is that it favors Reels that are entertaining and fun. So Reels that delight people, grab their attention, makes them laugh, or has a fun surprise or twist, right? Are inspiring, right? So something that could start a trend others can easily participate in. A reel that uses creative tools like text, filter, or camera effects. Reels always do well in the vertical video, so straight up and down, not the horizontal. Uses music from the Instagram library and or original audio you create or find on Reels. That's a big one, and we'll talk about that in a second. And last but not least are experimental, right? Trying something new, being yourself, and seeing what works for you. So this is what we know is being favored. This is what I've proven to be true in my content and in the content that I teach for my students, because I do have a group coaching program for female entrepreneurs. And what we've seen is that authentic, unapologetic you is what works in these reels, okay? So here are some mistakes, and definitely drop the word guilty in the chat if this is you. No, again, this is a safe space, right? But here are some common mistakes I'm seeing that I've made, that I'm seeing in my students, that I'm seeing online in general when it comes to Instagram Reels, right? So one of the mistakes I'm seeing is that you're doing it all in one day, right? So researching, coming up with ideas, shooting the content, writing the caption, posting. And usually when you do it all in one day and you're spending 4 hours, maybe you're cranking out one reel. Anybody guilty of doing it all in one day and being exhausted, right? I remember my first reel took 3 hours and I was exhausted, and I wrote the text, wrote the caption, all of that, a lot. So that's a mistake I do see made. The second mistake I see is there's no clarity or intention behind the reel that you're putting out, right? So you're just posting just to post without any strategy. You're just putting up reels because you want to get a reach. Maybe you're just recording something really quick. And that intention or lack of clarity leads to confusion for your audience, right? So that's a mistake that I want to eliminate from your reel strategy as well. Neela says, guilty as charged. The last one is not doing them, right? So reels are the fastest way to skyrocket growth and reach on Instagram, period. Like there's no other thing on this platform that Instagram is pushing that does what reels do. You can't go live and hit 2 million people the way that you can create a reel for 5 to 15 seconds and hit 2 million people. So if you're a business owner, if you are an entrepreneur, if you have offers, services, products, and you're not using reels, you're leaving money on the table, right? Sarah says, yeah, this one is me. I haven't gotten into reels yet. I love that you wrote the word yet, because Sarah, we're getting into it, all right? So let's dive into the reel strategy. So grab your pen and paper. I'm gonna give you 5 tips, or 5, I don't want to say hacks, 5 real-time strategies that you can walk away with today, and hopefully begin to walk into your first reel or walk into your first profitable reel. I want your reels to make you money or grow your audience, right? So number 1, use trending audio. I know we hear this all the time. I know we hear that use popular audio, and I'm going to show you kind of how to find some of that. But trending audio, according to blog.planonly.com, is a core factor in making reels that capture attention and connect with your audience, right? So taking the time to research trending audio, taking the time to see what audio is doing well on this platform, on Instagram, is a great way to increase your reach. And so how do we locate that, right? When you're scrolling through the Reels tab, right, there is the audio that lies at the bottom of that reel. And so if you see an arrow pointing right in that diagonal direction up, that indicates that audio is trending at the time. And audio could be a song, it could be a sound, it could be a voiceover, it could be it literally can be, it's any type of audio, right? And so I encourage you to save that audio as you go, right? So that when it's time for you to create some reels for your business, you have it ready. And the great thing about the Reels feature is that Reels really have a longer shelf life than all of the content on this platform. So trending audio can last up to 2 weeks. So don't feel so pressured that the moment you find a trending audio that you have to create the reel right then and there and sit down and start pointing and dancing and jumping and all the things. You don't. But what I will say is don't shy away from the trending songs and sounds, because you don't have to master the choreography. You don't have to do the voiceover lip syncing stuff to the T, right? Do something that is fun and that is authentic to your personality and to your business, right? So drop a 1 in the chat if you're using trending audio, or if you're aware of the importance of trending audio in your content, and how that affects your reach or affects who you're seen by. Awesome. So we kind of get a feel for that. So I would encourage you, like I said, to spend some time saving your trending audio. So number 2 is probably one of my favorite points, and that's keep it simple. When it comes to when it comes to reels, keep them short and simple. They are short form video content. And I know that there are some users that can create up to 60 seconds worth of content. But what I've been seeing work well is reels that are from anywhere from 7 to 15 seconds. And the reason why I say that is because it's supposed to be short form content that captures your attention, gets the value across, or gets whatever you're trying to showcase across, and people move on. Our attention spans for reels and that swipe and that TikTok and all of that is very short and sweet. So when you think about creating your reels content, and you feel like it's getting a little bit too long, right? Break it down into 2 different reels, right? You might be teaching too much in a short amount of time, or move it over to an IG live, right? If that content is getting a little bit long and lengthy, I would encourage you to channel it into another piece of content and keep it simple. Let me know if that makes sense in the chat. So this is Tiffany, one of my students in my group coaching program. And one of the things we leaned into, she's a nurse practitioner. One of the things we really leaned into was her being herself on Instagram and keeping it simple, right? And so if you see in this picture on the left, this is actually Tiffany at work, y'all. Tiffany is shooting reels at work. I'm sure she's off the clock. Listen, I'm not telling on my student, right? She is in her lab coat. She has her stethoscope around her, and she's talking about vitamin deficiency in 15 seconds or less, right? And that reel, this particular reel here on the left, hit over 2 million on Instagram, and then she ended up taking it to TikTok and going viral on TikTok as well. So let me show you a little bit of Tiffany's results. Her goal was to really get clear on how to take her expertise as a nurse practitioner and turn it into content and monetize, right? And so when she started, before she started creating reels, she had a following of 83, which is great. That's 83 potential clients that she could serve and sell to, 100%. But once she started diving into reels, she had a skyrocket increase of followers. So from 83 to 17,000. She created a monthly health membership. She sells products, so she sells CMOS, and she's officially established her expertise by just keeping it so simple in her content. So if you look down here in the left, she said, Jourdan, I woke up to this and I got my first 2 orders for CMOS from my old reels and lives I posted about it. So again, the shelf life of reels is not a game. It does last. People go back and binge watch that content. So definitely don't sleep on that. Awesome. So let's keep going. Let me know if Tiffany's story was inspiring. And Christy, I will definitely address questions at the end, so be sure to stick around, and I'd love to speak to posting daily reels. I actually talk about that a little bit further as we go on. Awesome. So tip number 3, when it comes to reels, what I've found that really works when it comes to the selling side of things is dual CTAs. So if you don't know, or if you're unfamiliar of what a CTA is, it's a call to action. And a call to action is the best way to lead your audience to the next steps. So what better way to make sure they're guided all the way through by using dual call to actions. And so when I say dual, I'm saying 2, one in the video and one in the caption, right? So I'm saying first, connect with them in your reel and then tie it all together in the caption. So what I've seen really work at the end of videos is that first call to action. If you look to the right, this is a reel that I shot, and I said, read the caption. That's the very first call to action I have my audience take, right? That's the first one. Then I think about what I'm writing in the caption, and feel free to screenshot this and tag me. These are some really great call to actions then that I leave in the caption so that the audience, the person who's watching this particular reel, can take that next step beyond just digesting my content, right? Does it look like them, attending my free masterclass? Does it look like them commenting a word below? Does it look like me connecting with them, right? So let's go through these 2 columns. So on the left, I have your real call to action. So what you're including in the video. So for example, in the last one, it says read the caption, right? So there's one right there, read the caption. Another call to action could be more info below, right? Check out the details below. Find out how you can too, right? Anybody want to drop a call to action in there when you think about what you've used in your reels that do well? Anybody? A real call to action. Read more, any of that. And then when it comes to your captions, and there's tons, I could do a whole freaking workshop on call to actions. But here are a few call to actions you can use in your caption, right? So we go from telling someone to read the caption. Your audience then decides to read the caption from that first call to action. And at the end of that caption, maybe you say, save this post for later, right? That increases the saves on that particular reel. Maybe you say, share this with a friend who needs it, right? So now we're increasing the reach of now this post because we're saying to share with a friend. Comment the word XYZ to learn more, right? So now we could even be moving this conversation into the DMs, right? Comment the word enroll to learn more. And when Nyla says enroll, guess what? I'm probably going to be in Nyla's DM saying, hey, Nyla, you said that you'd love to learn more about my program. I'd love to hear more about your business, XYZ, right? The last call to action could be click the link in my bio to book a call, right? Let's go beyond just click the link in my bio. I don't want to say it's played out, but it is played out. Let's take our audience on a journey beyond click the link in my bio. Click the link in my bio to learn more about starting your detox journey. Click the link in my bio to get started in my 20-day read a book program. I don't know, y'all, I'm kind of going off the dome here, but thinking about extending that, click the link in my bio. So the Clemens put, check out the how below. Love that. Another, ooh, I love that. I might use that one. Spoiler alert below. That is a great real call to action. That's a good one. I really like that. Spoiler alert below. And then like you're pointing. Awesome. All right. Are we getting a good grasp? You can put a yes in the chat. Are you getting a good grasp on some dual call to actions for your reels? Just throw a yes in the chat. And I'm going to just take a quick sip of water. Okay, awesome. I see a yes. Use it and enjoy. Oh, thank you. I'm going to use it 100%. Okay, perfect. So let's talk about number 4. This is huge. To be authentic. Being authentic in your reels is the secret sauce. Do not try to be anybody else but you. Your vibe will attract your tribe clients, right? So a lot of times I hear, do I have to show my face on my reels? Whatever is authentic to you is what you're going to be doing in your reels, but also, think about pushing yourself a little bit outside of your comfort zone, right? So I've seen people create reels and never show their face and advertise their products and their services. I've seen people show their face in every single reel, right? Whatever is authentic to you and also pushes you outside of your comfort zone is how you should be showing up in these reels, right? And know that the more practice that you have with creating these, because your first reel is not going to look like your 10th reel, look like your 20th reel, look like your 30th reel. You're going to evolve the more that you show up. That's just with anything, right? Because your confidence is built. You have more comfort in doing them, right? You can move a bit faster in implementing these things. And then you also have a better pulse on your audience so you know what to see, right? So I think that it's super important to get into a rhythm of doing it. Do me a favor, drop one thing in the chat that makes you authentic, right? That is your secret sauce. Are you funny? Are you straightforward? Is your brand luxurious? Is it one of a kind? You know, what makes you authentic or your business authentic? And Sarah, Dawn, I see your question. I will definitely answer that at the end for sure, so stick around. But what makes you authentic? Drop that in the chat. Are you energetic? Do you cuss like a sailor? Are you a straight shooter? What makes you you? What is your secret sauce? I'd love to know in the chat. So here's some real results, right? This is one of my students. Her name's Dr. Marcy. She's a wellness coach. And this was shared actually in our program. And she said, my win is I'm having fun. Like bringing the joy back in content. I'm having fun. Finally, I'm out of my perfectionist prison. Phew. Having fun being myself and sharing my passion for helping women live well beyond 40. Here's my reel from today, and I had a blast. I have the last 2 for the week already in my drafts folder on Instagram, right? Love that. So she is being herself. The Clemens says what makes them authentic is speaking on things in our niche that most don't say out loud. I love that. So she's straight there, straight shooters. Okay. Sarah says, I'm super focused on making stuff accessible to everyone. Love that. The Aubrey fam says, I'm super approachable and a no BS type of person. Okay, let's go. Here's another authentic real result. Ananya is a NP burnout coach. She helps nurse practitioners recover, overcome, or avoid burnout in their businesses. She's incredible. So if you know any NPs, send them her way. But creating reels has skyrocketed my visibility to an untapped audience, even beyond hashtags alone. It also helps me showcase my personality more. I love that. So again, she's become she's become consistent in her content, showcasing her personality more and more. Ebony says, my audience are teachers, and I've been a teacher for 20 years, so I know them well. Plus, I'm cool. I love that. The Clemens says, we also do some shock value to then point to a deeper point in the captions. That's great. That's great. Awesome. All right. So number 5, put a 1 in the chat if this has been helpful. If 1 through 4 has started to get your juices going and thinking about your reels and those next steps, I just want to know that you guys are finding value in this. So number 5 is intention is a must. Listen. Before you post a reel, before you show up in front of that camera, before you start jumping up and down, before you start pointing, before you begin laying them edges, before you get your products well lit, intention is a must, okay? Every single post that you create, every reel that you create should have an intention to grow your audience or sell your services. It's one or the other, right? You're either wanting to grow so that you can have awareness, more eyes, more reach, more leads, or it's a direct sell to your offers, your products, your services, purchase, money, monetize, all the things. And a lot of times those monetized reels might not do as well visually with the vanity metrics, but if people are in your DMs and you're selling your products, that's why we're on these platforms. We're not on these platforms for likes. Likes don't pay the bills. Loves don't pay the bills. We want customers and clients, right? So I challenge you to focus more on the value over the viral, right? Are you providing value, making the sales, or are you more focused on the views and going viral that doesn't pay for any of your staff, period, right? So intention is a must. So just thinking about when you're showing up and you're putting out a reel, when we think about growing your audience, that sounds like content that is empowering, that is teaching them, that is pouring into them, that is addressing pain points. That's a lot of value and growth. And sell is, come to, or these are my products, or I'm hosting a class, or what are you struggling with? Exposure doesn't pay the bills, 100%, right? So really getting intentional about the content that you're putting out, right? So let's continue. Oh, perfect. And I see Christy's comment, so this is going to be good. So real myths, don't believe the hype, right? Don't believe the hype when it comes to these things, okay? Because I want you to put a yes in the chat if you've ever heard any of these things, if you lean into any of these things. I want to myth bust some of these things that we're hearing on social personally. Okay, so here's some real myths. The first one that I hear often is that you have to post 1 reel every single day. Has anybody ever heard that? That, hey, in order to grow your audience, like I said, I grew my audience by 50,000 in 8 months. So you have to post every single day. Has anyone ever heard that? Drop a yes in the chat, drop a 1 in the chat, drop a OMG in the chat if you've heard you have to post a reel every single day. And so I think that is a myth. You can totally do that if you want to. If y'all, it is not my ministry to teach someone to post a reel every single day. It is exhausting to write the captions, to look up the content, to write the words on the video, to share it, to find the hashtags, all of that. So I want to myth bust that because when I started posting my reels back in October, I posted my first reel in October. And from October to June, so October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June. So for 8 months, right, I posted anywhere from 0 to 1 reel a week. And I grew by 40K, 0 to 1. So some weeks I wouldn't post 1 reel. And other weeks I'd post 1 reel. And that was enough because I was consistent, right? The goal behind growth, not the goal, the secret behind growth in your reels, in your audience through your reels is consistency. So if you're posting every single day, I don't know. I've seen it work and I've seen it not work, right? But what I have seen work is somebody committing to 3 reels a week or 2 reels a week or 1 reel a week for a month to 2 month time span, and that builds and brings consistent growth. So you totally and completely can post a reel every single day. Yes, you'll get more eyes because you're posting 30 reels in 1 month, right? But what would it look like to post, let's say, 2 reels a week? That's 8 reels a month, 8 quality reels that do well with views, attract the right audience. Because a lot of times when we're posting so much, again, it goes back to posting without a strategy, right? We're just posting to get it out there. So then we start getting followers that aren't aligned with our business, aren't aligned with our goals, our mission, who we want to serve, and we're getting a bunch of random people from a reel that went viral that has nothing to do with what we do. So really, really, really honing in on your frequency. Right now, my reel strategy has changed a little bit, but not much. I'm not posting more than 3 reels. I don't think I am posting more than 3 reels a week. So that is important. And I just want you to know that you do not have to do it every day. I also personally, and what I talk to my students about is your audience learns differently. So not all of them want to see a reel every single day. Some are visual readers, so they prefer the carousels, right? Some love images, so they prefer photos of you or your product. Some of them like to experience you in real time, so doing a live video every so often consistently is what's going to build that like no trust factor with your audience. You can only get so much connection through 15 to 30 seconds a day, right? So let me know if that's helpful. I hope that lifted a weight off of someone who feels as though the only way they're going to grow their audience is by posting every single day. You don't have to. My students don't, I don't. And the things that I've seen is mind blowing. The second myth that I hear often is reels don't work anymore. So when I first posted reels, I was getting all this traction, and now that I'm posting it doesn't work anymore. So I want you to know that they still do work, but what has changed since reels got released back in 2020 to today is that there are more businesses now utilizing that feature. So the fight for eyes is a bit steeper, right? There were less people doing reels, so that means we didn't have so much competition in the pool of videos, right? Now there are more people doing reels, but there's still a giant amount of business owners, a giant percentage, right, of business owners that are not utilizing reels. So your content is still being pushed, your content is still being seen, all of that. So definitely know that they still work. Yep, Sarah, I did mention that in the beginning. Reels are 60 seconds now, but I encourage you to keep them short unless your audience really takes to long form content. So yes, reels still work, and they work fast. And then the last thing that I hear often that I want to myth bust is that you have to do all the things for real results, right? So how many of you, put a yes if this is you, have heard that you have to do all the trending dances and you have to point and do all the transitions and you have to spin around and has anyone heard that? Has anyone heard that you have to do everything, do all the things in order for your reels to work? Because I've definitely heard that. And so I want you to know when I first, and I think I still am, the pointing queen. These are my reels. This is what I mostly do. And that's what's authentic to me. That's what works for me. I've seen some of my students piece together past content and create reels that do well. My knees are 33 years old, so I'm not doing all the dancing and jumping, and it's not happening. So you do not have to do all the things. What you have to do is give value. Give value over going viral. You can write that down. I say it a million times, value over viral. Because when you give value, the right clients come to you. When you decide to try to go viral, you're going to go down a rabbit hole of people that have no idea what you do, who you serve, any of that, okay? So those are some real myths. And I want you guys to take a look at some of these myth busters that have definitely busted these myths and busted through the reels ceiling, right? So these are from some of my students who have learned my reel strategy in depth. So I filmed 4 reels yesterday like I planned. I also have been getting more reach and people sharing my content this week too. So she's batched her content. She's spent time creating more in less time. I love that. You don't have to do it all in one day. Another student made a quick reel in less than 5 minutes, which got the most views of anything I've ever posted. Okay, so you don't need to spend hours on creating reels. Super excited. One of my reels hit 82.7K. I also hit over 4K followers and insights are up. And then last but not least, another student said, I hit 60K, right? A few more, over 1,600 views in 1 hour, and that they've surpassed every other reel that they've posted. I can finally edit and post a reel that I've been working on for 2 months. Anybody have reels sitting in the drafts folder, just waiting to go out? That is, because what I will say is that the longer that draft sits, there's somebody tied to the breakthrough in your drafts folder, right? So someone is waiting for that piece of content to go out, and it's just literally sitting there. And somebody could be helped, freed, released, a breakthrough could happen, but because we haven't posted that piece of content, they're waiting on you. So I encourage you to post that piece of content. She said, I can finally edit the post I've been working on that for 2 months. And then last but not least, also people have been messaging me and letting me know my reels are popping up on their Explore page, and my followers have been increasing daily. We are on route to hit 3K. I'm beyond grateful and excited to begin working with these beautiful new clients, right? Awesome. So let's talk about next level reels, how to take your reels to the next level. And I will definitely answer your question, Clemens, at the end. I'm not quite the TikToker, so I'll share what I do know and what some of my students have done with these strategies. All right, so I do have a program, a workshop called Real Talk 2.0, The Experience. It's a deeper dive into creating reels for your business for the busy CEO, for an entrepreneur that wants to do more in less time. It's a 90-minute workshop that I've taught and really gone into depth with, sharing my own strategies and my updated strategies and my numbers when it comes to content. So this is kind of what's included within Real Talk 2.0, The Experience. So I walk you through my batching workflow. So I create reels in 3 different categories. Coming from a TV background, I view it as pre-production, production when we're actually shooting the reels, and then post-production when we're actually editing, putting the captions, all of that. So I create more content in less time. And in Real Talk 2.0, I show you the behind the scenes of my batching workflow. Part 2 of Real Talk 2.0 is real intention. So we do a deeper dive into setting your real intention. So as you guys heard earlier, the way that I see reels and the way that I teach reels is growth versus sell, right? Reels that grow your audience, reels that sell your services, right? And so in Real Talk 2.0, I give you a plethora of ideas in each category, right? What's worked, what I've done, what my students have done, what I've seen other creators do, businesses do, that has been helpful to have multiple quantum leaps in audience growth and then consistent 5-figure months in my business. Number 3 is advanced strategies. So my top strategies to increase your reach, in addition to connect with your audience for maximum engagement. So there's different things, different tactics to get them in the DMs, to get them to take action in the actual reel. So we dive into that a little bit. And then last but not least, I actually do a real-time reel, doing some step-by-step instructionals on how to craft a reel using Instagram only. So any of the content except for one reel that I've done on Instagram has been used using the platform only. So I've not gone outside the platform to edit or add pictures or anything like that. Anything that I shoot, text that I add, I teach is all done within the app. I am from the school of keep it simple and doing more with what we have, right? So here are some Real Talk 2.0 reviews. I actually saw one of the attendees post a reel and it was insane. It was fire. And so I had to comment. And she said, thank you so much. Your workshop helped me put it all into perspective and become very intentional. I appreciate you. Another student said, I completed my Reels replay last night, and oh, how I wish I was on the live class because it was lit. I took plenty of notes that I will be implementing for my Reels. I can't wait until I make the first one. Another one said they completed their replay last night. Oh, I put that one twice. So this is another student. She actually ended up getting paid by Instagram to create Reels. So she said, I just wanted to let you know I'm now getting paid for creating Reels through Instagram. I don't have crazy views, but it definitely shows that I'm doing something right. And this particular student, she has 4,000 followers. So it wasn't like she had to have 10,000 or 50,000 or 100,000, any of that, right? She literally was herself and started creating and getting paid to create Reels from the platform, right? Awesome. So Real Talk is $97. There is a hefty workbook that goes with it because what I want is for you to walk away from this 90-minute workshop with real-time examples, real-time ideas, real-time workflow, so that you can begin creating Reels for your business or starting to task your team if you have a VA or if you have a social media manager that can begin to help you with the Reel search. I call it Reel search instead of research, corny, I know, but help you with the Reel search before diving into shooting Reels for your business. So thank you. Drop a yes in the chat if this was helpful. I'm going to answer some questions in a second. I hope that this was exciting and helpful for you. I love Reels, and I really want people, especially business owners, to start to monetize and take charge of their content because this is a free platform for your business where you can be generating loads and loads of income. I hit my first 6 figures in my business in less than a year, and that's because I doubled down on my content and being intentional and consistent with the way that I show up online. So awesome. I'm glad to know that it was helpful. I need my hostess with the mostest. There he is.
I'm here.
So what's up? What's up?
This is so helpful. Jordan, I especially I appreciate you diving in and getting rid of some of these myths. There's so many people on Reels telling you, you have to do all of this to see it. And especially the posting every day. I think people get overwhelmed and think if I'm not posting 5 times a day, then I'm not there's no chance. So I just shouldn't even try.
No, I can't. That's not, I can't. It makes me want to vomit just thinking about how I could post a Reel every single day and not lose my mind. There's no way. There's no way.
No. Well, and especially because so first off, everyone hop in the comments, ask your questions. We have some more time with Jordan before we wrap up. And the link to that course is pinned to the top in the comments. It is also in the description, and Jordan's Instagram is in the description as well. Go check it out. I highly recommend watching some of her Reels because it also shows how authentic you can be. You're very authentic. You're not out there putting on a whole show. And what you see here in the live event is the same Jordan out there, which is so refreshing to see because there always seems to be this disparity, and that makes you think as a creator that you have to go and become a different human being.
Yeah,
sell your product.
I said, Jonah, these 33-year-old knees ain't doing no Megan Thee Stallion. I'm not. We're doing this, and we're calling today. That's all we're doing.
Well, and the other point I want to make is a lot of those out there, a lot of the young knees doing the Megan Thee Stallion also don't have the objective of money in mind. They're building huge audiences and aren't monetizing. And so it doesn't mean that because they have a lot of followers, they're actually really killing the game.
That part.
It's a big disparity there. But we did have some questions I wanted to get into. And I wanted to ask one real quick to hog the space for myself. I'm curious if you found a resource. Is there a way to schedule Reels at the moment?
No, not yet. I still schedule all of mine in real time. Yeah.
Right. I just wanted to get, because that makes it impossible to be posting every day if you have a life outside of it. It's who's
doing that? Who? You have to hire a body to do it every single day. I'm not. Yeah. No.
Right. Well, and so that was my selfish question. Now I want to get into all the other ones. And we got a bunch of awesome questions here. And start with Sarah here. So, do more people bounce because of the dual CTA? I've
Mhm.
usually been told to keep things as simple as possible. So, I think this is valuable when you're thinking about your CTAs. Is there such a thing as too much? Should you be worried about like turning people away with your CTAs, or is there a tactic to make those CTAs attractive?
I mean, I I think that people bounce when there's no CTA, right? So if I'm not being told to read the caption, I'm just going to keep scrolling personally. I'm not sure how you digest content, but if I see read the caption and I've been entertained for the past 7 seconds, I'm most likely going to read the caption versus just being entertained and like, oh, this felt good. Let me keep swiping. Let me keep scrolling. And then I think that then having the dual inside of the caption, know that CTAs aren't just meant to make the sale, right? CTAs, call to actions, can just be to connect, right? It could be as simple as drop a heart if this helped you, drop a heart if you didn't know, drop a thumbs up if you thought this was cool. Literally, now you're making that connection, bringing it back to the create, connect, convert sequence, right? You want to make
Right.
sure that you're connecting with your audience. So just knowing that your call to action doesn't always have to be link in bio. Just trying to find a way to connect with your audience in some way.
Right. And you probably shouldn't have every CTA be selling something, right?
Correct.
That might, right. Okay.
100.
Cool. And then Chiara, I hope I'm asking the or saying your name right. Ciara was asking, should I add hashtags to my reels? Because I've noticed that my reels perform even well without it. I know hashtag strategy can be a whole can of worms,
It is.
but
Yeah.
as far as a yes or no to whether you mess with hashtags, does it hurt? What is your quick take on that?
Yeah, it is a whole can of worms. I agree. I do touch on it a little bit in the Real Talk workshop. I kind of play around with both. So I don't always just use hashtags, and I don't always just go without hashtags. What I've seen work is just scattering hashtags throughout my caption as it reads, versus a chunk of hashtags at the end. Do I know if it makes a huge, ginormous difference? I don't know. Have I asked my students to remove hashtags from their posts and see it do a big difference and a jump? 100%. So I think my short answer is to play around with it, right? So if you've been doing it one way for a long time, try it a different way and see if your analytics change and be consistent with that way for 30 days and then review the numbers.
So you have had students remove hashtags and notice a difference
Mhm.
having positive. So I want to synthesize this into something really actionable that if you don't know what to do with hashtags, that shouldn't stop you from posting, right?
Correct. 1,000%.
Love it.
A trillion fulfillion percent. Post the content. Just
Right.
post it. Yeah.
Well, I love it because it can seem like yet another thing like
Mhm.
SEO or all of this, like, oh, now
Mhm.
I need to be a hashtag expert
Mhm.
to even
Yeah.
start posting. It's so
Yeah.
good.
No.
Love it. Um, Okay, I wanted to get to this. We had a few questions in this vein, so I'm going to try and combine them.
Sure.
But Sarah was asking, and then the claimants were also asking. Sarah was in the comments consistently talking about reusing YouTube Shorts
Mhm.
for Reels, and then the claimants was asking about reusing Instagram Reels for TikTok,
Mhm.
back and forth.
Mhm.
Is there a strategy? Do you go into your course? Because I know, again, this could be a can of worms about how you actually do this. But your basic take on like reusing content
Sure.
across platforms.
Sure.
How do you do it without being overwhelmed, feeling like you're feeding 9 different algorithms?
Sure. Yeah. So definitely a can of worms. Always my first initial response is pour gasoline where your audience is. So if your audience is on YouTube, if your audience is on TikTok first, start with, or Instagram too, start with the content there and then repurpose. One thing that I do know that Instagram has stated when it comes to the TikTok Instagram combination is Instagram's algorithm does not like the TikTok watermark. So there's a good chance that if you're shooting with TikTok and then you're repurposing through Instagram, that the algorithm will pick that up and won't push you through as frequent as it would be without. So there are, I'm not a TikToker, but there are apps and I don't think software, but apps that you can remove that watermark. I have had students, like you guys saw Tiffany earlier, she's taken the Reel strategy and then brought it to TikTok and has gone viral that way. As far as YouTube goes, I haven't started a channel, or I'm not very versed on YouTube, but I do follow a few creators that's where their bread and butter is, and then they cut shorts for Instagram. I've seen that do well as well. But I would, again, keep it to, I would say max, when you're just trying it out, 15 seconds. 60 seconds from a YouTube short onto Instagram is very long. These are two different audience spans. YouTube is long content. So if you can keep it to 15, where you got your mic drop moment and it comes out and it points to that long form, I would say it does very well, because I have seen other creators do it.
Love it. Love it. I think I heard one creator I worked with in a different event called like it Reels and TikToks, like content shots.
Yeah,
People are just taking like
exactly.
you have to keep that in mind.
I love it. That's great.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Another great, we got a bunch of great questions, so I'm just gonna keep firing away here. Ebony Clark was asking, should a reel always have movement, or can it be a still reel, like a post made into a reel? I think this is in the vein of like being scared to maybe get in front of the camera.
Yeah.
I'm not projecting that on you, Ebony, but I've heard that question a few times. People just not wanting to get in front of the camera and do it.
Yeah. So no, I don't see those perform well at all. If you do stills, it's hard to explain visually, verbally. So the way that I've seen stills work is in sync with an audio. So fast stills like this, does that make sense? Versus like one still sitting, and you spin it out and it does something else, right? If you feel as though you want to keep it simple, or you don't want to show your face, or whatever the case is, what I've seen work is like recording something that's moving, like recording the water, or recording the sky, or recording your feet walking, or recording you pouring coffee, and then putting some sort of text over it with the trending audio. But if it's just a photo of you and you're like, JMX consultants, book your call today, and it's just a picture with audio, it's not going to do well, because that doesn't grab me as an audience, as my eyes are moving and I'm swiping through the feed. So I think, Ebony, if you're still here, let me know in the chat if that's helpful. But I'd say no. I would piece together like a bunch of stills for sure.
Right. Well, I love what you mentioned there, just that it is a video editing app somewhat built into Instagram. So you have all of these tools available. I think it's easy to forget that you can use all of that.
Yeah.
And I want to tag this as a little bit going back, and this wasn't a question, but I think it's awesome for people in this situation, going back to reusing content. But Chrissy was saying the only place I have viral videos is Pinterest. I've had over 10 million views on Pinterest, which is crazy. Several idea pins and 1 and 2 million impressions. Is there a tactic for when you find virality somewhere to bringing it elsewhere, or do you feel like you're kind of starting over on each platform as well?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's hard. I think that what I try to teach my students and what I try to do myself, if there's not even if there's virality happening, because again, we're back to going viral. I mean, going value over viral. But if you're not, just as a business owner or as a social media user, cross-promoting your platforms and working that into your content strategy, I encourage you to do that now. So if you don't have a post or 2 posts worked into your strategy on Pinterest saying, follow us on YouTube, or this is what happens on our YouTube page, or if you're not on Instagram and you're saying, hey, I have a free Facebook group for female entrepreneurs, click the link to join, or if you're not on YouTube saying, I go more in depth on Instagram every Wednesday live, come join me there. If those cross promotions aren't happening, that virality is I mean, it's great, but they're going to just stay there. So you have to encourage your audience to go through to other platforms as well. In your email list, literally everywhere, talking about that.
That's awesome though. That's so, but I love, so what you're saying is you don't have to, and I'm just trying to resynthesize this. You
Sure.
don't have to chase the virality on all the platforms so long as you're making sure that if you have success somewhere, you're pointing to your other
Yeah.
platforms.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes it so much more feasible than being like, I have to go viral on every single
No,
thing.
it's exhausting.
Yeah. Yeah. We're not built for it, right? We're not.
No.
We have a couple more questions and then we have to wrap up for the
Okay.
day. But it definitely wanted to get to these two more. Neela was asking if you have different products like a course versus merch, should you just focus on presenting one? How do you hone in on your marketing in that sense? Yeah, what's your take on that?
Ugh, that's another can.
Yeah,
I think honestly the short answer goes back to content strategy, right? So, having your quarterly strategy mapped out and what you're launching, in that quarter, if it's the merch or if it's the online course, I think as buyers and as audience members, we are more sophisticated than we were a year ago. And so we know what we want when we want it due to the consistency of you showing up about that specific thing, right? So if you're doing online course Monday, merch Tuesday, online course Wednesday, merch Thursday, it's like as a consumer, I'm like, what do I need? Like, what do I want? Like, what's going to work for
right.
me, right? So having a strategy built around the when and the why of what you're launching is going to be beneficial and alleviate any confusion. So I would say focus on presenting one, and that person that's designed for the other will find it. So if we're presenting an online course in our link in bio and our merch is at the bottom, if the person wants merch, they're going to find the merch. But I would just lean into what you're presenting in that season of your launch for sure.
Love it. It's so really just being calculated, not trying to be a like convenience store.
No, it's
Right. Well, I see that too because it's so easy now with like Printful and all these drop shipping to just be like, and I have a whole line of merch available. It's like, oh boy. No. tempting, but it
very, very much so.
Okay, we have time for one more question before we wrap up, and I'm augmenting this question a little bit, tagging onto it. Do you edit within Instagram Reels? Do you edit outside of that for your videos? And if you edit outside of it, what do you use? Heron is asking if CapCut is okay, but what's your process for editing Reels roughly?
Sure. So, like I said, in the Real Talk 2.0 workshop that we have, I break down my batching process, my batching workflow. So my pre-production, my production, and my post. And so this is in my post-production section. Me personally, going back to what I said earlier, is I'm from the school of thought of keeping it simple. So every single reel that I have on Instagram has been shot within Instagram. The text, the video, me recording it, literally has been all on Instagram. I have done one editing reel that I used InShot for, and that was just for me to put a picture, a before and after picture. So I've heard really good things about InShot. There's nothing where I've heard like, don't use this editor. So I'm sure that anything that you use is fine. But you can do everything that you want to do within the app. Do I think that Instagram may favor that I just be staying in there? Maybe. I don't know. I don't have facts for that. But if you can just do it all in one sitting in the app, I'm sure that you could probably get your point across within the platform for sure.
Love it. So maybe like exhaust the capabilities of the app before you have to run out and do. Yeah.
Tap all the buttons, do all the swiping, all the typing, and then be like, I can't do that. And then I would say outsource it somewhere else.
Love it. Love it. Well, Jourdan, thank you so much for your time, for making this all seem so approachable and just again, I love the idea to just go out and learn as you go versus waiting till you have this perfect little edited video to throw out. And
Yeah.
then you throw that out and you get disheartened because no one
Oh,
watches it.
it's
So it's
devastating,
it's such a
devastating.
it's
Poor
such a
views.
I know, yeah. But I did want to call out once again to everyone watching, and I'm gonna post your Instagram into the comments as well.
Thank
But go
you.
check out Jordan's videos. It makes it seem even more approachable and real, and gives a lot of great examples of how to tackle it. And if you had a good time today, hop in the comments. I know you're already doing this, but thank Jordan for her time and her expertise and for sharing everything she knows with us today. The link for the course is in the comments and the description. Just want to say that once more. And please, if you had a good time, like and subscribe to the Spotlight channel. We're consistently bringing folks like Jordan out here to share their expertise in language learning, art, business, marketing, all these things we all want to grow in. And before we wrap up today, Jordan, I wanted to ask one just kind of actionable question, and I always try and stew on it during the presentation.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of people here today who are probably thinking, oh, now I can go make reels, but they're going to find some reason not to do it today. So can you give us a prompt
Yeah.
that if you're going to go make a reel today,
Yeah.
you can go and use this prompt so
Yeah.
you don't have any reason not to do it. Can
Yeah.
you just give us a prompt off the head that
Yeah.
you can
I
take?
literally have it. It's literally brewing.
Oh,
It is get out of your head and get into your bag. I think that is my prompt. Like, stop with all the mind garbage and like get out of your head and get into your bag and make this money. We are business owners, and that's why we are on this platform. So show up and show out.
love it.
Yeah.
So let's all go out and make a reel today with that in mind. Jordan, it's been such a blast. Always a pleasure having you. Hope to have you again. For everyone watching, thank you so much for being here, spending some of your morning with us, and we'll see you all too soon. See you later, Jordan.
Bye.
Bye.